I'm an open book.
What's your social security number?
Accept that.
Kat Cole, thank you so much for joining our episode of Power Lunch. Kat is an investor and advisor in Lunchbox. She is Lunchbox's 2021 Top 30 Women in Food. What are you eating today? We always start with lunch. I have
berries with 2 toddlers. Berries are where it's at, and 8 greens. Greens in the glass.
I changed my lunch. I was going to show you what I actually had, but I switched to something healthier when I saw in the recording.
I'm glad I could be a positive influence.
The first question has to be about Clubhouse. With over 1.1 million active followers that tune into you, how would you define Clubhouse to someone that's never touched the app?
If the person I'm talking to has been to Burning Man, I can describe Clubhouse even more succinctly. If you haven't been to Burning Man, that's a bad analogy to use. The fact that you can choose your own adventure, it's co-created by the community. There are so many elements that are quite similar. It is both an interactive audio app, so think podcast and fireside chat, but live. And it is a community. It's a piece of technology, but it is also a growing community of people. And without those people, it's just a container, a beautiful container, but it's just a container. And so those two things together, this simply human, intimate, low friction way to talk and be heard with a growing and wildly diverse community leads to this magic of interaction that could mean information and education or entertainment or networking, all of the above.
Kat, tough question. Last meal, is it dessert or is it pizza?
It's coffee with my husband.
Can you tell people where you got married? It's the most fascinating thing about you for me. I don't know why, I'm just so fascinated by that.
Yeah, my husband and I got married at Burning Man. Well, we actually tattooed our rings right after he landed from rowing across the Atlantic Ocean in a rowboat. He rowed for 45 days. He landed, I know, mind blow emoji. We got closer through the row. We had only met 2 months before he left to row across the Atlantic. He, landed in the late winter, early spring, and we realized that this was it. I mean, we kind of knew right after we met, but tattooed our rings, and then a few months later got married at Burning Man.
That needs to be a movie. Like we need we need some more downs, because that sounds way too happy. We need a couple of struggle. I promised my girlfriend we would get engaged after Series A, which happened 4 or 5 months ago. So she does this every day, which is every time there's a scene of someone trying to get engaged, she looks at me in deadpan, must be nice. And she goes back to TV immediately.
Chop, chop, Nabil. Don't let grass grow under your feet. Nothing to it but to do it.
I'll promise to work on it. You're part of so many awesome investments like Slice and Milk Bar and others, and I'm sure they all invited you for National Women's Month. Are there companies you've been part of where they preach diversity and inclusion, but they did not actually believe it? And do you step in to like, hey, this is a fad for you, but this is not a fad for me? Do you step in and say, we need to do more?
I mean, that's certainly been the case for the companies I've run, right? When I was running focus brands and we would acquire a brand, and the brand or that company comes with its own culture, most of which is typically really powerful and part of what makes it special. And then there are always some areas for improvement. And sometimes that area for improvement is diversity and inclusion. And so it's much easier to make a mark in that area when you own the company and when you're the leader over the presidents of that company. It's just a different conversation than if I'm an investor or an advisor in a company. But nonetheless, if I'm going to be associated with it, there certainly is a minimum level of intention, awareness, and action that I expect a company to have. And instead of criticizing, which anyone can do, I prefer to take the route of making suggestions, offering my time and energy, challenging them on, is the candidate pool diverse enough for a key hire you might be recruiting? Hey, let me introduce you to some amazing women.
Young founder, still figuring things out, first company. If there's one thing I could do better to go ahead and be just a better listener and a better CEO to some of the female members of our company, would love one thing I can be better today.
That question you just asked is the question I recommend leaders learn to ask often of everyone. And so I would just suggest you take that question and flip it to them, right? Tell me one thing I can do differently to be a better leader for you. And listen, when you hear patterns, there's something to it.
Wow. I don't think there's a better place to end this. Kat, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
healthy lunch break. We really appreciate it. You did not have a single bite. Thank you so much.